Madam, thank you for your time. So, welcome to Bali during
Thank
these
you.
annual meetings. So, how was Indonesia? Because I heard you visit some places before to Bali.
Yeah. I wanted to start with a visit to Lombok and to Sulawesi. Sulawesi was a bit too complicated because of the timing, and my Secretary General went over there to see for himself and to report back to us how things were and to express the support, the sympathy and the condolences of the IMF. I went to Lombok yesterday, and although it's a few weeks only, but I could see for myself that reconstruction is underway. The rubbles are being put together, and I could see kids that were returning to school and to learning and to singing. It's hard, and we want, as a community, to express our support. And we've actually raised a bit of funding within the IMF. It's not a program, because Indonesia does not need a program. It's very well run. But just as a gesture of our staff and management for Indonesia.
Do you find like a similarity, kind of taste of food with you and Indonesia? Because you a lot of time visit Indonesia. What's your favorite food?
Oh, I love Indonesian food, and I love
A bit spicy?
when
taste?
it's a bit spicy, but what I really like is anything having to do with peanut. So the spicy peanut-based sauce, I love it. I just couldn't take it all the time because I would be, eating too much of it. I very much like all the delicatessen and the sweets that you make out of rice. Those little rice puddings. I love those.
And so what thing that you always do when you visit Indonesia? So that I heard that you love to swim or diving.
Yes, I love swimming and I love diving, and it goes back to my youth when I was on the synchronized swimming national team for France. So I don't do synchronized swimming anymore when I swim in the sea, but if I'm in the sea, I feel very comfortable. I think in previous life I was probably a turtle or a dolphin or something like that.
But during your very busy schedule, do you still have time for your, like a me time? How long for each day?
I try to get up very early in the morning, so I'm usually up at about 5:30, and I love to have
Every single morning.
almost every single morning, and I try to have 2.5 or 3 hours just to myself, to go to the gym or to swim, to have a healthy breakfast that I cook myself, thank you very much, and then I do some reading and preparation for my day of work. But that's what I love doing, yes.
With all of this stuff, do you think that it's very useful to refresh your mind and so you can't see a lot of things clearly?
I think it's very healthy to exercise your body as well as your brain, and there are no better time for me to read those very complicated reports that I get than when I'm sitting on a stationary bicycle, getting the blood pumping into the system and hopefully irrigating my brain so that I can understand better.
Okay, so it's about the writing. So how do you see the countries would be able to ride current condition in a global market? Do you think that, like you mentioned before, that it's very useful to ride with a bicycle, like refreshing your mind? Do you think that it's with the knowledge of current condition of global market?
Just like with body, you need to have solid fundamentals. And you need some flexibility. I used to do yoga as well, so yoga develops flexibility. And I think solid fundamentals and flexibility combined can help many countries, including Indonesia, ride the surf of the present times. And I really think that Indonesia has those strong fundamentals and is using its monetary policy, for instance, to have the flexibility needed to respond to the shocks that are likely to affect all economies around the world. It's not just an Indonesian problem, by the way.
Yeah.
It's an all emerging and developing countries issue, as well as advanced economies, for that matter.
Yeah, and as we see that it's not only rupiah that is weakening at the moment, like we see almost global currencies facing the same point. But
it's not the rupiah weakness issue, it's a dollar strength.
It is a dollar
very
strength,
much.
Yeah. But do you think what can the emerging markets can do, including Indonesia, facing and anticipate the risk ahead?
I think you, just like your own body. You need to constantly exercise and keep the effort going. You cannot go in override. You have to continue a steady pace of keeping your fundamentals, building up your buffers, and keeping the flexibility that is, a shock absorber. And clearly, exchange rates is exactly the place where you want the flexibility to actually respond to those high rise of the dollar.
Okay, and do you think what kind of tools that very important for all the emerging countries to have facing these uncertainties of global markets?
Strong fundamentals and building buffers and demonstrating that policymakers are steady, serious about it, and are going to deliver on those fundamentals. I think they use all the tools that are familiar: monetary policy, fiscal policy, structural reforms, and directing the revenue that they collect to the right spending.
Do you think that countries, emerging countries, including Indonesia, need to be worried about the current condition?
I think Indonesia is facing exactly the same situation as many emerging market economies. And I think that Indonesia is faring very well in the present circumstances because it has strong fundamentals, because it has policymakers that are holding firm the reins of monetary policy and fiscal policies, and because it is determined to, ride that wave with as I said, a very strong steering and not drifting. To go back to a speech that I gave recently, you've got to steer the boat, and that's what is happening.
Okay. And about the trade war, one of the most challenging issues at the moment. How do you see the position of the current condition for emerging countries, including Indonesia?
The world is vastly interconnected, whether it is through pure trade, whether it is through supply chains, whether it is through foreign direct investment. There is clearly much more movement of people, capital, goods, and little by way of services as well. So what affects one or two very large economies in the world is going to have an impact on all economies of the world. And it's clearly with a view to de-escalating trade tension that we are coming into those annual meetings, and that's what we will support.
Would you share with us where is the direction of the global market a couple years ahead?
We have just recently released our World Economic Outlook, and we are seeing
growth.
We had expected growth to pick up from last year, and now our revised forecast is same growth as last year, which is not bad. 3.7 is pretty good number, but it shows that growth has plateaued and is less even than it was in previous months, because some of the risks are beginning to materialize.
Madam Lagarde, thank you.
Thank you very much.
For CNBC
Thank you.
Indonesia.
Thank you.